I got the same shirt on. Did you notice that? Well, and then for Representative Howes, I would say whether you think I'm dressed too formally or too informally, I would encourage you to donate to your local state representative or state senator this evening. And if you have no opinion, I would encourage you to do the same. So, you guys are great. Ken and I, this is such a great time. This has been a wonderful day. We started it early this morning. We went to Duluth. Then we went to Grand Rapids, and now we're over here, and we'll be back up here again soon. I want to introduce my wife, Cindy, is over here with our youngest, Olivia. And she's my motivation in so many regards, specifically to come around and help guys like Senator Carlson and future Senator Mosier and Mr. Hancock, who's been so wonderful to serve with. I'm in the state legislature too, and Chairman Howes. I will be coming, and I will be bringing a bus. If you haven't seen it, I have a big bus as a school teacher. It's red, white, and blue, and it's not green. So it's not green. It's red, white, and blue, and actually, if I can let you in on a little secret here, we're going to actually have 3 of them, and they're going to be named Liberty, Constitution, and Freedom. And we're going to spread them around the state so that it looks like I'm in more places than just one. So don't tell them. But no, we'll be traveling around. We use that bus to take. We had over 40 volunteers show up to Zimmerman in our first parade. We had people from every type of Republican was there. It was just great, and they walked with Congresswoman Bachman and State Senator Benson. And Kurt Dowd, state representative, and then with our float as well, with our bus, and we all walked together. It was great to be in Zimmerman at the first parade of the season, and that's kind of the kickoff to our summer. Our official summer will kick off though next Thursday when I get picked up from school. I still teach first hour. I teach full time outside of the legislative session, and then I still teach first hour during the legislative session, and until next Thursday when that bus picks me up from school, and we'll head out, and that'll kick off our official campaign season. So that's a little bit about me. And just to let you know too, in terms of building roads, when it said that, when I was just out of high school, I didn't have enough money to go to college. I remember specifically the evening that my dad informed me that there was not money to send me to college. I asked, and he set down the knife and fork and said, "Son, you realize there's no money here." Okay. So that's when I realized I'd be going to work. So I took off and worked for a year and a half and built roads. I was actually in the laborers local 464. My dad's a retired fitter out of 690, and of course I'm in the teachers union. I am a co-author on the right to work amendment, and think employee freedom is something that we should discuss. That's one thing that helps me to get into more houses. It's kind of like that Congressman Kravac model. It helps you to talk to people. When you're a union member, you can go and talk to people about that and discuss and share why you believe what you believe. When you're a public school teacher, you can get into populations that you don't normally get into. I mean, I was in school on Monday, and I had a young lady run up to me, and she said, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you that you won this. This is great. I just, people are going to understand that we exist." We? Well, we what? You know what she meant by we? We Republican school teachers exist. And I looked at her, I thought you were part of them, because I thought she was with the other side, and here, she's a we. So that's just great. We'll run forward together. But those are the populations that we can get into, and that's what we're going to focus on in this election, is talking to union members, talking to school teachers. Doc Severson, we've discussed, he's going to come on board and help us with the minority outreach. We're going to get into that population. We're not, it's all about margin. Economists understand. You shouldn't spend a whole lot of time. When I door knocked, and I love door knocking, I really did. I love to talk to people. You might tell a little bit. Teachers love to talk. So I walked the whole summer. I must have walked 3,000, 3,500 miles, something like that. And I knocked on some doors 4 times. By the time I came up the 4th time, the guy, "Oh, forget it, I'm voting for you. Just go on to the next one." So you got to door knock, and you got to get out and meet people. And when you do that, sometimes you know the people, and sometimes they're real strong Republicans. Well, those doors are fun to go to because you all say the same thing and you rah and get everybody fired up, and sometimes you take too much time at those doors because you could be knocking other doors that are more valuable. So that's what I would do a lot of times. I'd go up to the strong DFL doors. And because I'm a public school teacher, so, can't you listen to me a little bit? And, oh, well, okay, fine. And then we start to discuss basic economic principles, spending trend lines, and how if we don't have a private sector left, like I said in the video, you don't have a tax base left to afford my classroom. So shouldn't public employees be standing up for the principles of free enterprise? That's absolutely right, they should. So we have every reason with our understanding, with our ideology to get out there. Look at radio versus television. You ever heard of Air America? Some of you know what Air America is. Air America is the liberal radio station. That is no more, right? Didn't it go bankrupt? It went bankrupt. Why? Because on radio you have to talk. You have to have ideas. It's not just all emotion. Liberals do really well on television because it's 10, 20, and 30-second sound bites. We have to send somebody who's been practicing that for the last 15 years, teaching economics, bringing basic principles to people in 30 seconds, because trust me, I might have 50 minutes with high school seniors, but they're gone in 30 seconds if you don't get them and bring them in. So that's what we have to do. Last week, I announced I filed and had a press conference, and one thing that was interesting up at the convention is I had some reporters ask me some questions right afterwards. First thing they asked me was, what will you do first? And I'll be teaching my first hour class on Monday. That's what I'll do first. I'll go back to work, because Republicans go back to work. We have jobs, and that's what we do. And, it's my wife's job. She's a licensed child care provider, and she's a hard-working Republican woman. And if you don't think so, stop by sometime and there's 12 kids about that big running around. It terrifies me, and I'm 6'3", 220 pounds. All right, so she's a hard-working Republican woman. And if we don't win in the state house and the state senate, she's going to be unionized. So I want to challenge these guys in the room, and all of you. That's why you work so hard. Governor Dayton tried to force the unionization of child care workers. He showed you what he wants to do. Do you really think he won't do it if he gets a majority somewhere? That's my motivation. Maybe your motivation, if you're a farmer, is that you want your kid on a tractor. Because DC has shown you what they'll do. They'll take your kid off the tractor. They'll say it's too dangerous. That's wrong. If you don't, and if you think they won't come back here, if he goes back to the White House and he gets the majority in the House, if you don't think that they'll come right into your family business and tell you how to run it, it'll happen. That's why you fight so hard. That's why you walk around. That's why you keep a smile on your face as you talk about what you believe in. And you go door to door, and that's how we'll win it. We don't have the billions that Dayton's ex-wife has. She's willing to write out that check. You know what? Cindy and I wrote out a check to start our campaign for $2,500 out of our vehicle fund. And then our minivan broke down on the way home from the convention. And sometimes you gotta laugh because you cry otherwise. Those are those rich elite Republicans, right? Yeah. But we'll beat them. We'll beat them because we have a plan. I laid down my plan at the press conference. I said, here's a platform to revitalize America. I'll run on this. This will be my plan. I think it's a good start. It was put out by Senator Rand Paul, Senator Jim DeMint, and Senator Mike Lee, great conservative men. 16 senators voted for this when it was brought forward. That's not very many. Not enough to pass it. I'd be number 17. The second question at that press conference was, how will you change your message now that you're in the general election? My answer was, I won't. I'll run on this. I'm not changing my message. I'm a public school teacher who knows that if we don't stand up now, there will be nothing left to fund my classroom. We will go through austerity like Europe is. Make sure that you understand that. Look at what's happening in Europe. We are not in your father's business cycle. This is the end of the debt super cycle, if you read John Malden. This is the end of the debt. You cannot solve debt by adding more debt or more printed money. It's morally wrong. It's mathematically impossible. So here's a plan. If you want to talk about ending the Department of Education, it's in here. It leaves Pell Grants in there. So they'll pick on me for having a plan. They already have. And I encourage you all to read this. It's tough. It would be tough to vote for this budget. I would do it because it balances the budget in 5 years and it pays off $2 trillion in debt in 10 years. And it's tough. This is not easy to vote for. We have to do this for our kids. Do you understand? We have to. These are tough decisions. The great thing is that you can say to your friends, oh, that Bill's, he's got that really horrible plan. He's got a plan. She doesn't have one. The Senate hasn't passed a budget in 1,130 days. 1,130 days since the United States Senate has passed a budget. Don't you think you have some fiduciary responsibility to go to DC and pass a budget? Here's a budget. There's Plan 1. Here's another one. For you AC/DC fans, it's called Back in Black. And it's put out by Senator Tom Coburn. Inside of this is $9 trillion that is suspect, that we should actually look at. Some of it, most of it he'd want to cut. And I would have to agree that a lot of this should be looked at and brought down in terms of funding. Stuff from the Hollywood sign, it's just unbelievable. You start reading through here. And even though we have differences on foreign aid and everything, this cuts out foreign aid to places like China. $27.2 million to China in 2010, and they own 1.1 trillion of our debt. And we send them foreign aid. Are you kidding me? So there's one. There's another one. And I'll keep laying them on the table until Election Day. And the pile will get larger and larger because we have plans. We have more than one plan that we vote for. They don't have a plan. So on Election Day, you can either vote to send me to Washington, D.C. and put a plan on the table and make them vote for it, because I will. They're not going to twist my arm in caucus. I'll stand with the guys who are standing up with those plans. So you have a distinct delineation between Amy Klobuchar and Kurt Bills. I'll go to D.C. and we'll take the votes on these. I don't care. It's not going to be about re-election. It's about our kids. It's about the only way forward for liberty and freedom is to get away from debt and dependency. And that's going to be the choice. So Minnesotans can either send me to D.C. to do that, or you can send me back to my economics classroom, where when the kids ask me, and they're tough questions, Mr. Bills, why am I paying into some kid with oil all over his hands down in the shop 6 hours a day? And going to work, after 6th hour, and working 6 hours or 8 hours after school. Mr. Bills, why am I paying into payroll tax if Social Security and Medicare is insolvent? Well, son, you just got to have faith that there'll be a plan that it'll be there for you. Because I educate, I don't indoctrinate. Well, yeah, thanks. When that kid asked me, what are we supposed to do? This was a smart kid. This is a very, very bright kid. What are we supposed to do? Because left or right, conservative or liberal, they'll throw their opinions out as to how to fix it and how to do it. And so many times, you have to bring it to them, well, those things have been put out there already. Well, then why haven't they been voted on? That's what they'll ask you. Well, because there's political virtue and there's economic virtue. Most of these people just want to go back again. And it's time to put somebody in D.C. who will literally grab people by the scruff of their neck and throw them outside the beltway if they have to. And it's the monopolies, it's the monopoly banks, it's the monopoly corporations, it's the monopoly public unions, the people who would rather run to D.C. to capture an industry than go compete. Go compete. That's what they need to get told. And you need to send somebody who understands economics, who can look who's thinking of those kids every time he votes. I won't think of any lobbyist. I won't think of dollar signs. I'll think of every kid that sat in my class and asked a question. Mr. Bills, what are we supposed to do about this? You get behind me, we'll get these guys elected, we'll bring the majorities back, we'll kick Dayton out next time, and we'll bring Econ 101 to Washington. I guarantee you that. Thanks for tonight.